Well. You could just call me Optimoz, because I predicted 6-0, and here we are, the day after the result, and it was 6-0. I'm here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for all your football predictions. But wow, what a performance. Before I get into that, I'm going to introduce my guests as per usual, and welcome along to the Grove podcast. I'm joined today by none other than the two resident podcasters, Tabs.
Good evening, everyone.
And I'm also joined by a very stern looking very stern and very focused Whale. How are you?
Good day, fine sirs. I'm amazing. Don't listen to Mars.
Whale has a very clean-shaven look about him again today, which I'm liking, and he's got a kind of a vest on, which reminds me of a character from like GTA or something. It's like, one of those pedestrian characters that you see roaming the streets. I shouldn't say that because that could be misrepresented. Right. Anyway, I'm also going to introduce a new guest we have on the podcast, and we all love a new guest, don't we? And this one I'm really excited to hear because it's not someone that we see a lot of. It's not someone that we hear a lot from. But he's here. We've managed to lock him down. Kaziva, how are you?
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm good. Glad to be here, finally.
Yeah, finally. Well, we hope you're feeling better after last week.
Yeah, I am. I'm good.
There was rumours going around, Kaziva, just before I start. There was rumours flying around in the group chat that you were waiting for a big result, a big result to come onto the pod, and you maybe faked your cough after Porto.
I don't know how you found that out, but that's facts. That's true. I was waiting for a nice 6-0 win, and I'm here. I like being happy when I'm chatting about football.
Good. As we do every episode, we're going to talk about the highlights and the lowlights of the Sheffield United game. I'm going to start with you, Kaziva, since you're the guest today. So hopefully you've prepared a highlight and lowlight from the game yesterday. Take it away.
Yeah, so my highlights, I think, was just meeting expectations. Usually in a game like this, people say we should score 5 goals, 6 goals, and it doesn't happen. But that's exactly what happened. So us meeting those expectations was my big highlight. And my low light is a bit of a weird one. So I've noticed it on like 3-4 games, away games, where at halftime, the home section is empty. Where the fans going? What's actually happening, with these teams? I feel like the Premier League needs to investigate this issue because we need more fans watching us smash their teams. So that's my low light.
I laughed at that, and then I just looked at Tabs, who was drinking his tea or coffee, and almost spat it out and try not to laugh.
Lock them in. You have to stay and watch a decent team play football. You have to stay.
Punishment.
You have to pay to get out.
Tabs, highlight and lowlight from the game.
Highlight. I always tend to start with my low light. So my low light actually is you, Moz. Basically before the game, just stressing out the group chat. Oh no, Nelly's training on his own. He's got an injury. Oh, Jesus is here, and Havertz, he can't hit a barn door with a banjo, and I'm not going to be unhappy unless we're winning 6-0 and all the rest of it. So that was like, oh, for God's sake, just enjoy it. Yeah, and that brings me on to my highlight. But it's just the highlight is just like, wow, we're just so good at the moment. This is such good fun. I'm gonna try and extract as much joy out of this as possible, because otherwise, what's the point? Yeah, we can nitpick at this, that, and the other, and yeah, we may not win a trophy, but if you can't enjoy the way we're playing now and how this is working, then yeah, what's the point of being a football fan? So my highlight is just enjoying this, enjoying the way we're playing, the quality, the goals, the players. Yeah, so that's me.
Well, before I come to you, I'm just going to defend myself a little bit, if that's okay. just for 10 seconds. Tabs, shut up, please. I had every right to be worried. Martinelli came off injured. Who knows if it was a cut on his foot or if it was something that he picked up during the warm-up. But I was trying to be helpful, and I noticed during the game that, Gabriel Jesus, which wasn't a negative that he was training with the starting 11. That was good. It seemed like Arteta had a plan to bring him on, which I'll come to in a second. But in terms of Martinelli, he didn't get involved in the warm-up as you would. And look, I've played football at, various levels, and I've played for a long time now, and I know when someone's not taking part fully in the warm-up, that only means one thing. They're going to just prove me wrong, and we're going to score 6 goals and win. So just thought I'd defend myself a little bit. Whale, what was your highlight in the game?
6 goals. I like to see Havertz involved. So he had a goal and assist. So that was a highlight. We like to see those things. Him sort of catching rhythm. As far as a low light, Partey looked kind of stiff out there, man. Yeah, weren't too thrilled about that, but it didn't. The game and the state of the game and everything, it didn't really matter. But it does normally take him a couple games to get all warmed up. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if I had to pick a low light, it was him sort of jogging around the pitch. But other than that, we're happy. We're happy, it's Moss called 6-0, I called 5-0. This is what we expected. The only person who's surprised really is Tabs, I would imagine.
Mr. 3-1.
Tabs is as we called him last week, typical Tabs, 3-1. I'm not even going to ask Tabs what his prediction is for the weekend game. We're all going to know what that is.
Annihilation incoming. There we go.
In terms of, for me, so obviously I was at the game, and I have so many highlights and so many lowlights, to be honest, but I'll pick a couple. One of the highlights for me was CEDRIC SOARES coming on. The chants that Arsenal fans are so quick-witted with. Unbelievable. 10 more years, CEDRIC SOARES was a personal favourite. And I remember someone in the Grove group chat saying, whenever we bring CEDRIC on, it's like the trophy that we parade around to say, yeah, we fucked your team up. Now deal with having CEDRIC on and take the banter from the Arsenal fans. And even when CEDRIC had the ball, we were all cheering. It was like we'd scored a goal. It was unbelievable. Someone behind me started a chant saying, if CEDRIC scores, we're on the pitch. It was unbelievable. And I fully thought this guy, the guy behind me who said this had £1 or £100, on Arsenal to win 15-0. So this guy is like a man of his word. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Yeah. In all seriousness, a proper highlight for me was the first half annihilation, the performance on the drive down. One of my friends who was with me, shout out to Connor and Hamza for enduring my opinions on the way down. But I won't name who it was out of the two of them. One of them said they were really worried about the game. They thought we would maybe win 1-0 or sneak a win. It was just so good to see us start on the front foot straight away. Sheffield United are a really, really bad team, as I alluded to, and as people have been going crazy about on TikTok over the last week, saying that I was going to jinx the game and whatnot. Look, I know my team, right? But what was really good to see was the fact that Arteta must have drilled into these players, look, you have to come out fighting from the first minute and get an early goal and the floodgates will open. And that's exactly what happened. It was testament to the players that they never gave up in the first half as well. That was really, really good to see. And also, on a side note from that, when you think about Liverpool and City, they only beat Sheffield United 2-0. So that's not, to say that they had their foot off the gas and they played a weak team. They never. And that team in North London, the smaller team in North London, they only scraped to win against Sheffield United at home. 2-1 they won, and they scored 2 goals in the 99th and 100th minute or something. And then they paraded around with their kids in their arms and celebrated as if they were going to win the league. So that was my main highlight, the fact that we just came out the blocks so quick, and also the chants from the Arsenal fans. My low light was Gabriel Jesus and Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey did look really rusty. I mean, it's crazy to think that Thomas Partey had a worse game than CEDRIC did yesterday. CEDRIC looked quite assured on the ball and quite good. Yes, it's Sheffield United and they're losing 6-0, but he looked all right. Gabriel Jesus, there was a couple of chances that you guys would have seen it yourselves where he had the ball in the box and either he passed it to try getting an assist or he took 3 or 4 too many touches and fluffed his lines. Any other number 9 in the world would have had a shot on target, potentially would have scored. And it shows massively, it was evident that the fans were kind of disgruntled with that when they were chanting Ollie Watkins' name during the game yesterday, which was crazy to hear. I've never heard any Arsenal fans do that before. So, yeah, that was my low light.
I find that it's like a bit, all right, give these guys a chance. They haven't played in how long, particularly Partey. So they are going to be rusty. Again, they're coming into a game. I think I said it last time. Game state. We're not, it's not at the pinnacle. The intensity's not there. And also, you've just got to. I think the best thing is that they had decent 30 minutes. Having a good run around. The rest is the other players. So I think it's a bit harsh. I know. I noticed it too. But as well said, Partey takes a couple of days to get going, and then he gets injured again. But I think, let's just see after the international break, a bit more time. And when
how much more time? Out of curiosity, is it? How much more time?
What do you mean? Give him more time? In terms of what?
Well, for you, from your standpoint, it's way too soon to get on their back. So when is it not too soon?
Well, I wouldn't want to get on their back full stop. So
ever.
No, ever. As I said, I'm going to be bringing the joy here today because there's no downside to the current situation. But what I'm trying to say is, what do you expect? It's like, and it's all about expectation. It's like, he's been out practically the whole season. It's not surprising. Yes, he gave the ball away a bit. It wasn't at his best. He's not going to display his Jorginho anytime soon. The positive is that he got out there and then hopefully, after the international break, he's going to be better. And the same with Jesus. So yeah, I'm all good with this.
You do expect players that are coming back from injury, for example, when Timber comes back, you do expect them to be rusty, right? But the thing that I was more concerned about was that there's a difference between having a player who's rusty and a player who just doesn't know what to do anymore. It was like he forgot how to cock his leg back and shoot and said he just knew how to pass. And it gave me flashbacks of that one Ozil pass years and years ago when he had a shot on goal and he crossed it all the way to like Theo Walcott and then headed it back in towards the box. It was reminiscent of that.
But on that point, Buzz, I think what we also need to look at is how the team has evolved since Partey was lost in the team. We play very differently to how we were in the beginning of the season. So I saw that yesterday. I saw that he looked a little bit lost. He's like, where do I stand type of thing. So there's rustiness and also being part of a system that he hasn't played in for 4 or 5 months. I'm hopeful that after the international break, these guys will have figured it out. Jesus, I feel like he'll be back quicker than Partey because Partey's position is, it's more of a central point than Jesus. Let's see what happens after the international break.
So we always do this thing where we talk about team selection and things, but let's just get some of the admin out of the way, right? Let's just talk about the predictions from last week. So we all know Tabs went 3-1. We're not even going to gloss over that. We're just going to say that was awful. Awful to think that Sheffield United, who are on course to be the second worst team in Premier League history, points-wise, would score against Arsenal. But Whale, fair play to you. I knew you'd come in clutch and agree with me that we would score at least 5. So I'm going to give you half a point, Whale, as well. I'm going to listen back to the episodes. I'm going to tally up the points. Tabs, I believe you still might be in the lead, but you might get a point taken off that if I have anything to do with the rules myself for that 3-1. But I did say Saka would score 3, Jesus, Rice and Partey would score 1 each.
You've just been slagging him off, but you're expecting to score.
And I've just spent the last 5 minutes slagging Partey and Jesus off. But look, Jesus had the chance to score. Saka, if he wasn't unwell, if he wasn't being sick, fair play. Maybe he was sick because of how many goals we were scoring, and he's thinking, God, these pure Sheffield United fans, and as you guys are saying earlier, where are these fans going? Well, do you know what? Apparently, a lot of the fans just went to a local restaurant or a local pub and drowned their sorrows. And the stadium was honestly, the stadium was getting empty after 15 minutes. There was fans leaving. I don't know if they showed that on the TV, but fans left after 15 minutes. It was crazy. And just in terms of having an away day, this is my second of the season, so I've not been to many. I was at Newcastle earlier on in the season, but just having an away day experience was so good. I just love it. The away fans are a different breed. Some of the chants that they can think of on the spot, and it was just so much fun. Sheffield United as a stadium, awful, diabolical, deserve to be relegated. They deserve to go down for their stadium alone. It was awful. Sheffield's a place that I don't think I'll ever go back to in my life. Put it that way. It was the worst. But do you know what? We made the best out of it. It was a good performance to paper over the cracks that was an awful, awful team and awful stadium. And the stats show. So I'm just going to go through some stats, and thank you again to Normie, who is very, very quickly becoming the stat man of the podcast. And fair play, Normie, for sending me this at 5 o'clock in the morning as well, which was just, absurd. Arsenal are the first team in league history to win 3 away games by 5-0 or better in 3 consecutive away matches. William Saliba had more passes, 169, than the entire Sheffield United team combined, 142. That is crazy. But this also means that he has surpassed Santi Cazorla's record number of passes by an Arsenal player in a single Premier League game. Only 3 players in Premier League history, or since 2003, have completed more than 169 passes in the whole competition, and they're all Man City players. So it just shows you, right, those little stats, which are good. But even when you look at the match stats itself, 81% possession, 2.3 XG, which is a pointless stat, but we say it anyway. 22 shots, 3 big chances, 2 big chances missed, 92% passing accuracy, 7 corners, 22 shots, 10 of which were on target. Obviously, we hit the box, hit the woodwork. But the one thing that impressed me the most was shots inside the box, 17. Mm-hmm. That's a high amount of shots. So we were trying our best to really go gung ho right from the start. And Sheffield United, there was 3 moments in the game where we thought, shit, they might actually score here. And all 3 of those shots ended up at least rose ed. At least rose ed. So it just showed you, and the fans were on their back from minute 3-4 when they knew they were in for a long night. There was a few fans who were obviously trying to wind up the Arsenal contingent, on the side we were sat. And I must say as well, fair play to the Arsenal fans sitting in the home end. One got absolutely headbutted, a belter, as we say up in Scotland, from a Sheffield United fan at the end of the game when he lifted up his hoodie to show the brightest, greenest Arsenal top they've ever designed in history. And he's celebrating, and the stewards didn't even give a shit. They just pushed him down the stairs and threw him in with the away fans. And he was having a great time, blood streaming down his nose. It was brilliant. Fair play. If you listen to this podcast, mate, we want you on because that was brilliant. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Tabs, you've wrote some notes here as usual. I just want to kind of focus on one, the substitute that they made, the substitution on the 15th minute, 16th minute. That was crazy, just a change formation. They brought a midfielder on, I believe, didn't they, for an attacking player. It didn't help, obviously. And I think, as you wrote there, it was damage limitation. I just wanted to know kind of what Chris Wilder's thoughts would have been, though, because at the end of the day, doesn't that just ruin someone's confidence and morale when you bring them when they're 3-0 down already? They're going to lose the game anyway, so whether you lose 3-0 or 6-0.
It was damage limitation. They went from 4 at the back to 5 at the back, and they just wanted to stop the bleeding, basically. And to be honest, he's got to think of the team and not the individual. And because it was a tactical change as opposed to, right, you're playing rubbish, because he could have taken any of the 11 off. To be honest, so yeah, I don't think he can think about an individual play. He says, look, we're 3-0 down after 16 minutes. I need to do something to stop it. It didn't make that much of a difference. The idea was, you had Saka and Nelly dominating down the flanks, and I mean, Trusty just couldn't get anywhere near Saka all day, so they had to sort of provide extra cover. It slowed us down because then we only scored 2 goals in the following 30 minutes. So, but it was all he could do really at the time. And then you
What
saw
were
in
your
the second
guys-
half, I was just saying at the second half, he then put on the youngsters, and he alluded to it in his interview at the end. He's just saying, look, okay, just going to give these youngsters a run around, and maybe they're going to be the future. Look, we're going down, so they're maybe the ones who are just going to develop over the next few games. So I think, yeah, he'd given up the ghost after 3-0.
Well, when the youngsters came on, they only really conceded like one goal, really, didn't they?
Yeah. But that was more down to us. The intensity had gone. We'd made the subs. If we really wanted to, we could, but we were just it was just a training exercise. And that was
to be fair, that was my next question. It seemed like a training exercise from minute one, really, for us, the way we passed the ball about in Whale. I'm assuming you watched the full game yesterday on TV. I just wondered how it looked in terms of, you know, when Arsenal had the ball and when we were in possession and then lost the ball. Sheffield United just seemed to give it back to us every time. I wonder if any commentators, mentioned that, or if you guys picked up on that from watching the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Tab said, sort of like a training session. We looked in control. I normally keep the volume sort of turned down, so I don't listen to the commentators too much. It looked probably how it was supposed to look. I mean, I know we say, oh, Liverpool did this against them and such team did that against them. That's the worst team in the league, and we're arguably the best team in the league. So we've got better players than them. This is what should have happened. We looked in control for all of it, and then the second half, it was, we were in cruise control. You know, to be honest with you, I mean, we could have probably pushed if you're looking for records and things like that, but yeah, we were just in cruise control. You don't want to get anybody injured. I mean, to be fair, what little commentary I heard, it was, well, I wouldn't call it a love fest, but it was like, oh, it was more of, wow, look how bad Sheffield are than how amazing Arsenal are, you know, to be honest. But I mean, Sheffield are really bad. They've got 20 losses.
They're relegated.
A game.
Yeah, they're going down, right? So they're relegated pretty much. And I just thought a team who know they're about to be relegated, and I think that'll happen in the next few weeks, they'll be obviously confirmed. I just thought they'd show a little bit more fight. Every time we seemed to give the ball away, or when David Raya kicked it out, no one challenged for a header. No one really tried to close our players down. No one. It was like I was watching 11 different players on the pitch as opposed to a team of 11. And it was really, really, almost at one point, turned around to the guy behind me and said, I kind of feel sorry for the fans because the players aren't really giving a good account of themselves. To which he replied, mate, shut the fuck up. We're winning 50-0. I've got a bet on. Which was fair enough. But it was a testament to Arsenal that, you know, we expected them to maybe play a low block and really sit deep and not let us play, but we still managed to find the pockets of space, and Austin Trusty could not handle Bukayo Saka, as you mentioned, Tabs, at all. It was just like it was like, you know, he knows Saka as well. He's played with him, so he should know kind of what to expect.
That should have been the sub right there. I don't care about somebody's confidence. You get toasted like that all the time. I'm yanking you. I'm putting somebody else in. You obviously can't cover the man. Come sit next to me.
And you know, there was chants of, oh my god, he's got a family, B, he's got kids at home, B, go easy on it. It was hilarious. And
but we were playing too good for them to get anywhere near us. Our one touch compared to the beginning of the season to now, 1-2 touch, you know, 1-2s around the box, it's just so much quicker, so much more assertive, and you know, and we can't get bullied either more. Physically, we can match up with anyone. And they tried to kick us, and you know, I think it may have happened once, and it was a bit worrying. And I thought it was maybe going a bit more, but we were just too quick, too fast for them, you know. And what was interesting is that after 4 minutes, you get a goal, and they said that was inevitable, it was coming, you know, and only after 4 minutes, and that's just crazy that. And just the trio of Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard, and the way they shift positions. How do you mark that? Where do you go? Oh, I'm going to take. No, I'm not. You know. And when you're at the level of Sheffield United, you can't cope. And when we're playing in such compressed space, it's easy for our team to dominate and overload, especially because, as I say, the way our centre backs push so hard. I saw a picture, like everyone in the final third. You know, Saliba's practically halfway in their half, and he doesn't care. He can cover if need be. So the way we're playing, yeah, they just sort of like chasing shadows, men against boys and all the rest of it. So,
I must say, just on Saliba and also Gabriel, what a performance they actually, they didn't have much to do, but anything they did have to do, they did exceptionally well. It was brilliant to watch them in the flesh, up close, just to watch them do that. It's quite funny that the Sheffield United goalie is called Garbage or Garbage. It sounds very much like garbage. That's probably testament to his rating on FOTMob, 4.7. What was really interesting was Jack Robinson, the centre-back for Sheffield United, got a 7.8, which is crazy. That's higher than Jorginho, right. And also the same as what Gabriel had, which was crazy. You've lost 6-0 and FOTMob are giving them 7.8. I mean, not expecting a sponsorship from you guys anytime soon over at FOTMob, but come on, what are you playing at? That was shocking. It was a shame. It was a shame that we were that good, because Sheffield United didn't have a chance. They never had never stood a chance. For me, man of the match, though, we can talk about all the players individually, and even David Raya was good at commanding the box and kind of dictating where the play should go. It was really good from when the players had around the back. But Kai Havertz, man of the match for me, hands down. He was exceptional. The touch for the Ben White goal was sublime, absolutely sublime. I was sitting right in line with him. I was row Q, so around 15, 20 rows back. But it was absolutely sublime. Just the way that he can bring it down so effortlessly, like the ball's a feather, and he's just stuck it to his boot. And he took his goal very well as well, I must say. So Kai Havertz, who would have thought it, right? I remember watching a clip from a certain fan channel account, and this guy was saying, Saudi Arabia, please come in for him, please buy him. And now we're thinking he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet, and I don't think he gets dropped. That centre-forward position is his, just like the centre-mid position is Jorginho's. So when Gabriel Jesus and Thomas Partey are back and fully ready to play and to start, I don't think they walk into the team anymore. Because
he's not unsellable. He's not unsellable. He's doing really well, but come on now. Saudi comes in and goes, "Hey, here's 95 million quid. See you later, bud." He's just had this awesome game against the worst team in the league. Let me temper the spirits here. It's the worst team in the league.
I don't agree, Will. I don't agree. No, it's not just that performance against Sheffield United, though. It's the performance.
Was it the one before against another not very good team?
No, it's the performance that he's been putting in consistently
against the teams that haven't been that good.
But it's a two-way.
And I'm happy he's getting into a rhythm. But he's going to have to do it like all great players against a really good team.
I think he's been playing well. I think he's been playing relatively well. He's been giving us solid 6.57s, and on the odd game like this, a good 9-10. But I know your expectations are a lot higher. Well, I totally get that. But I think he fits into this team like a glove. He really does.
I'm not mad at him, but again, I made the comment because he's not unsellable. If Saudi come in with a huge offer, then I'll see you later.
But Will, on that point, there's no player in Arsenal's team that's unsellable. If Saudi came in for Bukayo Saka for 350 million, we would sell him.
Right.
So your point, that point doesn't really stand. If of course we would accept 95 million, would we accept 95 million for Kai Havertz? Of course we would.
Then don't say what you said earlier.
No,
that's the exact opposite of what you just said.
I'm the host. I'll say what I want.
Exactly. But you've said two conflicting issues.
No, what I mean is Kai Havertz, as Kaziva said, Kai Havertz is fitting into this team like a glove. He had a very good showing against Newcastle where he was voted man of the match. He had a very good showing against Sheffield United. And just watching him play and linking up with the team and playing in that centre-forward position, I don't see Gabriel Jesus walking back into that team. Now, well, I don't know if you prefer, obviously you might prefer Gabriel Jesus over Kai Havertz in that centre-forward position.
Jesus isn't walking anywhere. He's got a bad knee. Don't even get me started on him. He's not walking in anywhere.
Can I just say to all the listeners, at the start of this episode, I said that Whale was in a pensive mood, a kind of a different mood tonight, and it's showing. He's
a hard man to please.
No, he's a very hard man to please.
Whale wanted to 8 yesterday, like the rest of us, and I think he's really showing his emotions.
I'm happy about the win, but again, like, it was the win that we all predicted, besides Tabs on the show. So I'm not going to get too excited about it.
I predicted a win. The thing is, you can only beat what's in front of you. Other teams are not doing this. What we are doing is not normal. We're winning 3 games by 5 clear goals away. No one else has done this. No one else is doing this. Is not normal. If everyone else was doing it, everyone else was bashing teams the way we are. Yes, there's still a long way to go. But this is what I come back to my point in the beginning. Got to enjoy this. We've got to. Otherwise, what's the point? We've got to find the joy in what we're doing, find the happiness in beating these teams. And just because they're no good, we're not making them look good. We are putting them to the sword, and that's part of how we are playing, how the individuals are playing. So yes, it's very easy to say, oh yeah, we're playing against crap teams, but it doesn't happen week in, week out for other teams to do it. So I'd say this is not normal the way we're doing it. And to Havertz, and this is my point about giving players some time to fit in and show what they've got. If you compare him to, say, like, Maddison, who was touted by the Athletic as the best signing of the summer, and Havertz was the worst, they're basically tied on Premier League goal contributions. He's got more goal contributions than Silva, Fernandes, the guy from Liverpool that I can't pronounce, who's a great Scrabble score, Doku, Diaby, Luis Diaz. He's got more non-penalty goals than Rashford and Palmer for Chelsea. His numbers stack up, and the eyes and the stats are matching. And I wouldn't say it was man of the match. I would give it more to Odegaard, but he's performing fantastic, and he's part of the reason why we're doing so well.
I can't wait until we play against Man City at Etihad at the end of this month, and Kai Havertz scores 3 goals, and Whale has to come on this podcast and say
he did a really good job against a really good team. Yeah, I can't wait to say that either. I can't wait to say that.
Let's move on before Whale and I fall.
Why would I want to? I'm not going to be like, oh, the flat track bully, he's beating up on the team that Nketiah had a hat trick against. It's fantastic.
But look, okay, the Invincibles, even they were not putting teams away like we are. Now, I'm not going to compare, and I'm just saying we've got to realise what's happening now and how we're playing and what we're doing. We look back at this in 5-10 years' time, and we're whatever. You're going to go back and think, actually, wow, we were good. Wow, we did a bloody good job. So I just want to call that out.
I want to echo that. Sorry, Kaziva. What I was going to say as well is any Arsenal fans that, let's just enjoy the ride, right? We might not win the league this year. We might not be double winners at the end of the season on the 1st of June. And when we parade in North London, it might not be the 2 trophies. But what I would say is, let's just enjoy this whilst it lasts. Because as you say, Tabs, we don't normally put teams away like this. We don't normally play this aggressively and this annihilation that we do every week in, week out. And yes, it's against the likes of Burnley, West Ham, Sheffield United and Newcastle. But let's just enjoy it whilst it lasts, because it might not last forever. And it's fucking good, isn't it? Pardon my French. I'm swearing a lot tonight. I don't know why. I think I'm just riled up by Whale.
You're
shouting
tired, Moz. You're tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too.
Yeah.
In terms of subs, I want to just talk about subs, and I just want to mention we talk about subs a lot on the show, right? And we talk about the impact of the subs and what they have. Now, I'm getting a bit annoyed with people. I don't know how to word this without getting hate from people on this pod and people listening, right? I know when we go 4, 5, 6-0 up, we stop and we put the brakes on and we avoid injuries and we avoid, getting too tired or whatever, because we have bigger games coming up. But what I would say is, when the subs come on, you should be trying and fighting for your life, man. You should be trying every bloody thing possible to score goals and impress the manager and not do stupid shit. And this is what's starting to really annoy me. Nketiah's had substitute appearances, Gabriel Jesus, Thomas Partey, Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe. No one has stood out as a sub where we've thought, oh my God, this player is worthy of potentially starting a game in the future. None of the subs look... Okay, let's not think maybe players come back from injury, Partey and Gabriel Jesus, who are first games in months for us. But the likes of Nketiah previously, and Fabio Vieira gave a good account of himself yesterday. I was okay impressed, but not to the point where I'm thinking he should be starting. But it's starting to really annoy me that when these subs come on, they're not trying their damn hardest and they're not giving every single possible thing they can give. And it just all slows down and it gets a bit boring. And I mean, it got boring to the point where we were chanting Steve Bold and Ian Wright and Thierry Henry and whatnot yesterday. And yeah, fair enough, legends of the club. But it was boring watching because we knew that the game had pretty much died. And a lot of people will say, well, Moz, the thing is, it's normal. We go 4-5, 6-0 up. That's it. We're expected to then, just, I don't know, sit back and relax and not risk any injuries. I'd just love for one game, ideally against Man City when we're up 5-0 and the subs come on and it's 7 or 8-0. That's ideally what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, as I mentioned, the subs, Gabriel Jesus looked really rusty. As I mentioned earlier, he had a couple of chances to score, but just fluffed his lines a wee bit. Vieira looked good. Half turn of pace was decent. Link-up play was very good. CEDRIC, I mean, it speaks volumes. In the show notes, CEDRIC is not even mentioned by Tabs as a substitute that came on.
I forgot.
Would you like to explain, Tabs?
I forgot he came on.
Yeah, well, he did, and he gave a very good account of himself from what I've seen, to be honest. You know what? If we had to put CEDRIC on in a game due to an injury or whatever, I don't think I'd be that gutted anymore. And Fraser will be listening to this thinking, oh my God, you've changed your tune. Because I'm one of the players that, the fans that hate players that steal a living, and CEDRIC, I believe, was. But he was all right. And then obviously it goes to the likes of Gabriel Jesus, Thomas Partey, who again looked quite rusty, gave the ball away. A couple of times it was bad passes from the other Arsenal players that he gave the ball away from. But yeah, he just didn't look. He looked a shadow of the player that we know he can be, and it's good that we have Jorginho, I guess, just in that position to fill in. And what a signing he is, and arguably one of the most improved players this season for sure. So yeah, it was great. I don't know if anyone else has any opinions or anything to say about the subs or anything I've just said. Does anyone have anything to disagree with? Will, you're looking a bit thoughtful.
Kind of was. Yeah, I don't really disagree with any of that. The subs came in and did sub things. Like you said, they didn't look I don't know, too happy, or they was. I think it was just celebration at that point. I think they knew the game was done. Some of them might have even liked to have just stayed on the bench and just relaxed a little bit. Yeah, it would have been nice to see a little bit more fire, so to speak. But no, I wasn't necessarily disappointed with them, because like the game at that point was over. So I was happy with the W. Happy to get some of our main players off. And then we'll see what happens next.
Tabs?
No, all good. I think it's good for them to get some minutes in the legs. Basically, that's the main thing. It all comes down to game state. It'll be interesting when we need a sub to do something. That's where we can truly judge them. Until then, game state dictates so much of how they get involved and how they perform. And yeah, so that was clear yesterday. Yeah, so it's fine.
And Kaziva, obviously you're new to the pod, but I know you listen all the time. And for anyone else who is listening now, you know what I'm going to say next. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. Rate us 5 stars. Please rate us 5 stars, because it means a lot. It just means that Tabs can upgrade his internet connection even quicker, and Whale can...
I've had the booster put in.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, it has made a massive difference. Fair play. Kaziva, what I was alluding to was that we go through the goals, as you know, on the podcast, and we talk about the goals and just in a little bit of detail. So I'm going to start with you, if that's okay, and for you to discuss the first one in the 4th minute, the Odegaard goal. What did you make of it, and what did you see anything different that maybe was missed?
I think the great thing about the Odegaard goal was how Jorginho has become such a an integral part in progressing balls. He's the pre-assister. I think he pre-assisted 3 goals, if I'm not mistaken. So he passed it through to Rice. Rice went in, cut back, Odegaard goal. So great training ground goal. I loved it. But it was just the fact that we have someone who progressively passes the ball all the time. Rice isn't there yet. We definitely missed that from Partey. I do feel like Rice will eventually get there, but Jorginho he's that guy when it comes to pre-assisting. A little bit similar to Xavi back in the day. So that's how I thought about that first goal. And it was a good way to start. I was on the phone with my dad and I was like, oh shit, we just scored. All right. I think we should hang up and watch the game. So yeah. That's me.
I really like what you say. I really like what you said there about the pre-assist, because in the MLS, I believe they get pre-assist bonuses for players and things. So Jorginho would be rolling it in the MLS. You've epitomised that perfectly well, Kuziva. He is almost like the glue that's holding that midfield together and letting Rice and Odegaard do their thing, and he's there to mop it up. Whale, the own goal, 2-0, 13 minutes in, Bogle, an own goal. What a run by Saka, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't score if you don't shoot. So went by that guy like he was doing all game. Shot on target. Bogle's in the way. Goal. We'll take it. And then if those are sort of things that get players going. Obviously, Saka had some other issues, and that's why he ended up leaving after the first half. But own goal, this goal, that goal. As long as it's a goal for us, I don't care how they come, man. So yeah, I was happy with that. Again, relatively early in the game, you get up 2-0. People start to feel a bit more confident. Maybe you take a shot you wouldn't normally take because you're feeling good. So yeah, thanks, Bogle.
Thank you, Bogle, indeed. And I had one of my friends say to me, if that's Saka playing when he's not feeling very well, then holy shit, he's a good player, right? And should win some sort of award at the end of the season for being one of the best world-class players in the league. Tabs, we went 3-0 up in the 15th minute, and that kind of cued a mass exodus of the stands to the left of where I was sat in Bramall Lane in the Sheffield United Stadium. What did you make of that goal?
Yeah, it was again very easy. I think I wrote down like on the 14th minute, I think that a third goal is inevitable, and then 1 minute later, Nelly comes out is like, and down the left hand channel, and we were causing a lot of havoc on that channel as well as Saka on the right. And what I liked about it was like a 1-2 with Nelly and Kivior, and I looked at it again, and I'm sure it was a no look pass by Kivior to give it back to Nelly, who then shot first time. And okay, bit of luck with the deflection, but as well said, if you don't shoot, you don't score. So that was fast, but it was a lovely touch for our fourth choice left back to be one in that position so far up, and to do a cheeky no look pass back to Nelly. It was lovely and just so easy again.
On Jakub Kivior, what a player he is turning into. It looks like we don't miss Zinchenko at all, and I would be hand on heart happy if Kivior plays against Man City at the end of the month. I have fears for Zinchenko against whoever plays, but Kivior, I just think he would be able to handle it better. Now, Kuziva's been begging me to talk about the fourth goal, so take it away, Kuziva. You've been messaging me saying, please can I talk about this goal? What's so special about it?
So the fourth goal is special because it perfectly encapsulates where Arsenal is right now, how we are defending while we're attacking and attacking while we're defending. That was Gabriel putting pressure on their forward, and then Jorginho came in to put pressure on him. Then they passed it back to one of their defenders, and then they were hounded by Kai and Martinelli. And that was literally a forced situation where we eventually got the ball back. Kai went down the left side and slotted it in really well. So it was just great seeing us counter-pressing the way we were counter-pressing. And I'm sure you guys have seen the stats. In the Premier League, we are the best and most effective at counter-pressing. And in Europe, the top 6 leagues, we're just behind PSG, who, to be fair, are playing in a farmers league. So it was just really nice to see that as much as we scoring goals, the defense is a big part of the reason why we are where we are, which is really exciting and reassuring.
Yeah, fair play. I'm glad you're so passionate about that goal. It was good. It was a great finish and lovely celebration as well. And Tabs, you wrote about the foul on Martinelli just before Kai kind of took the ball and scored. I thought the referee had went back to book him, but then when I looked this morning on FotMob, there was no booking given. So
No.
I think it was just talking to. But if that had happened and we never scored, that could have been brought back for potential violent conduct. I mean, he yanked his arm and threw him to the ground in a wrestling move.
It was like a wrestling move, yeah. It was like a wrestling move. It was ridiculous. I think that's when he's wins things, when the referee doesn't referee the game as he should, and he's feeling sorry for them. Oh, we scored. Oh, I'll let that one go. No, should it? That yellow card, he does something else later. Goal difference, you referee the game. You don't referee, I'll let them off because they're 4-0 down and I'll feel sorry for Sheffield United. Now that was a nonsense, because you never know what the knock-on effect. We might need more goals for goal difference later on. One player down, we could have got the 10 or the 8 or whatever, the 15 for that guy. So no, but I don't agree with it. You referee to the rules or the laws of the game and not patronise teams.
Yeah, and I do agree. I think the referee should be refereeing the game accordingly and take every moment that happens at face value and referee each individual occasion. So go back and book him, because like you say, he could have made a really bad tackle later on in the game that then could have resulted in him being sent off or whatever. So I do agree. We thought in the stadium he'd been booked for some reason, but obviously not. I think the referee may just give him a talking to or whatever. The fifth goal was brilliant. I think Declan Rice was quite funny to see Declan Rice do the Martin Odegaard special and finish from that kind of position, just on the opposite, kind of side, right foot finish as opposed to left. It's brilliant just to see Declan Rice getting involved and scoring goals for us. And just, it's funny because I don't think he really knows how to celebrate yet as an Arsenal player, and he just kind of runs and looks back at the team, and it's quite endearing to see. And every time I see Declan Rice score or assist or even just play and put the shirt on, I just can't believe we've managed to capture him. I really can't believe we've managed to sign Declan Rice. What a player. And then the sixth goal, if you guys don't mind, I want to talk about that as well. And I'm the host, so I'm going to Whale, right? So I see you looking. I'm kidding. I don't want to argue with you, Whale. I don't want to have.
But before you go to the sixth goal, I urge people to go and look at the fifth and look at the way Saka received and turned on the ball. It was just like gorgeous. It just so. Yeah, I don't know. There was something about it, and I was even getting I was messaging other friends about this who aren't even Arsenal supporters. They were just eulogising about that. I was just like, go and watch it, and you'll think, yeah, that's just such class.
World class player, so of course it's going to be class, right? The sixth goal, our 10,000th competitive first team goal, and I think am I right in saying that Kai Havertz scored the 15,000th Premier League goal ever or something like that as well? So quite funny to see these stats. They mean nothing, don't they? It's just nice to have. But it was just so interesting to see Ben White in the post-match press conference. He was asked, talk us through the goal, Ben. He says, well, a shot, obviously. And then I kind of spun around and didn't see the goal go in. So I heard the fans cheer and then I just ran and celebrated. It was just so carefree and like he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't like football, but he just has a shot and it goes in the back of the net. Just the fact that he started off with, well, a shot, obviously, to like the Arsenal reporter that's asking the question. It was hilarious. So if you haven't seen that, it's well worth going back to watch the post-match press conference. In terms of, before we get into the Brentford preview, in terms of what this result means for the next game and the rest of the season, which we like to talk about, number one, it keeps pressure on Liverpool and City after Nottingham Forest were robbed against Liverpool, and I must put on record my apologies to the Grove group chat for shouting full-time before the full-time whistle went in the Liverpool game. I was listening to Sky Sports News and someone said full-time in the background and I thought they were talking about Liverpool. So Normie and Shanice, I know you guys are the most passionate about this. I do apologise profusely. But yeah, no, it's good to
Who was it posted Alanga, exclamation. That was the one I want to
That was Fraser.
Oh my God, I was like, yeah, that was the one that got me out of my seat, and that's like, that's uncalled for.
Fraser is a wind-up merchant. He does this all the time, and I don't like it personally. I know he'll be listening to this on the way to work in the morning. And Fraser, when you hear this, don't even bother texting me because I'm still angry with you about that.
It was not appreciated.
No. But no, it was good. It's good to keep the pressure on. Obviously, we expected the win, so it's good just to be there or thereabouts. I had quite a giddy feeling driving back home looking at the league table. You know, we've got 10 more goals and goal difference than Man City. I think we've got 6 more than Liverpool. We've got a higher goal difference than Man United have points in the Premier League, which is unbelievable. Just to know that you get 3 points for a win and you have to score 3 goals to equal that. We have just surpassed it. It's brilliant. But in terms of what it means, as Whale kind of alluded to earlier, it's a game we expected to win, so it's just like it was a procession towards us winning that particular fixture. I think the main games are to come in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We will see by the end of March who really, I think, it'll become a lot clearer to see who wins the league. We are, I guess, hoping for a Man City Liverpool draw and then to go to the Etihad and beat them. That'd be the best case scenario. It puts it in our hands, and then we know if we win the rest of our games, we will be champions. Potentially Old Trafford, penultimate game of the season, who knows? But yeah, no, I think it was just an overall good result. Nice to keep your confidence up, the momentum going, and yeah, I don't really have anything more to say. I was confident before the game in the previous pod, and I'm confident again here. So I think we should just move on straight on to Brentford, which I don't think will be as easy a game as that. So before we do, I'm going to play a voice note from someone that's maybe not what the listeners are expecting. Have a listen to this.
Hello Grovers, my name's Tom. Been a Brentford fan for 40 years, season ticket holder at the G-Tech. Loving the Bees' progress in recent years, and I'm here to give you my thoughts on Arsenal v Brentford on Saturday. It seems there's been a bit of needle between the two teams since the Bees were promoted into the Premier League. The 2-0 win against Arsenal, our first ever game in the Prem, will always be remembered by Bees fans, and this time around I'm sure Ivan Toney will desperately want a goal. The VAR team will try to remember their geometry sets. Mikel Arteta will want to avoid getting his knickers in a twist. Obviously Arsenal will have the vast majority of the ball on Saturday. The Bees will try to sit in deep, rely on counter-attacks. For Brentford, they've not been as effective this season without the pace of Brian Mbeumo and Rico Henry. We'll also look to set pieces as opportunities to get goals, just like at the Emirates last season. And with David Raya being on loan at Arsenal, he won't be allowed to play against the Bees, so perhaps we can take advantage of some Ramsdale nerves. He looked a bit nervous at the G-Tech back in the autumn. Perhaps a bit of defensive disorganisation too. It will probably be 5 at the back for the Bees, but we've still been conceding too many goals, particularly headers from crosses. Our midfield will be led by Christian Norgard. He's the captain. Pretty impressive player. Breaks up lots of opposition moves. Decent passer as well. He'll have to work hard. They'll all have to work hard to stop Odegaard and co. The rest of the Arsenal players passing it around us. Brentford haven't been quite as impressive this season, largely due to a long injury list of key players, but we still should have enough to stay up. There's more encouraging second half against Chelsea on Saturday. We were 1-0 behind at half-time. Wasn't looking good at that point, but the Bees showed a lot of spirit to come back to lead 2-1, and even though Chelsea equalised late on, at least the draw stops the run of defeats. And with everyone else towards the bottom losing as well, it can go down as a point gained. Anyway, let's ignore all logic and get on to a totally biased prediction. I can hardly come on an Arsenal podcast saying that Brentford are going to lose. So even though form has been worrying, even though we've got loads of key players out injured, even though the defence has been leaking too many goals, and even though Arsenal on a high and a hot run of form, I've got to predict a Bees win. It might be my heart overall in my head, but I'm going for a Thomas Frank tactical masterclass, and the Bees to take it 2-1. So, like Ivan Toney, I'm looking forward to a nice kickabout with the boys on Saturday. And against all the odds, the Bees coming home with the points to move up the table. Thank you, Grovers. Come on, you Bees, and goodbye from me.
So as you heard there from one of your friends, Tabs, do you want to talk us through, what's going through his mind that he thinks they're going to take points off us?
Well, so that was a good friend of mine, Tom. I've known him. I don't know how old am I now. I've known him for about 36 years now. We actually met stewarding at Brentford. So I used to be a steward at Brentford. He was one of the guys in the yellow jacket walking up and down one of the touch lines, and I was manning the gate to the away fans. And so we got chatting. We were about 16 or so at the time. So I met him back then, and at Brentford are my local club. So I was sort of born and bred in Ealing. So I've got a bit of a soft spot for Brentford. I used to go there as a kid. I was even there when the season when Paul Merson was on loan there for about 6 or 7 games back in '87. So I used to steward there. I've been to a few away games, visit some sort of crappy first, second, third division stadiums. So I've got a bit of a history with Brentford, and Tom's just a very, very good friend of mine. So I saw him on Saturday. I was on a bit of a scouting mission at the Chelsea. The Brentford Chelsea game, because I'm a member there as well. Because it's when I start playing, if I can get a game there, then that's cool. I'm going to see my folks and whatnot. And I asked him to put in a bit of a insider's view on Brentford, and he just basically couldn't say anything else other than a Brentford win, even though I don't think he believes it in his heart of hearts. But I appreciate his comments and his thoughts, and let's see.
Fair play. He's a true Brentford fan when they're expecting to beat Arsenal 2-1 when they can't even beat Chelsea. That's fair play. To be honest with you, though, I'm not looking forward to the game as much. So we'll do our looking forward to and not looking forward to, and I'll start. I'm not looking forward to Neil Maupay playing against us. He's just a shithouse, isn't he? And for some reason, I just have a funny feeling he will score against us. I don't think we're going to lose the game or draw the game, but I think he'll score. And I'm not looking forward to the celebration that he'll whatever inevitably do, whether it's copying, I don't know, Saka, or we don't really have a player with a trademark celebration, do we? Really in the team, but I'm not looking forward to that. What I am looking forward to, though, is being back at home in front of the fans and playing, because it feels like we've not really had many games at home, or maybe it's just I've not been to the last couple. But I'm just looking forward to playing like a tougher, in inverted commas, I should say, tougher opponent. Obviously, the league table maybe doesn't do them enough justice, but I'm just looking forward to that kind of another repeat performance and hopefully get 3 points, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the footballing gods has Man City and Liverpool both lose somehow on the weekend as well. Kaziva, what are you looking forward to?
That'd be quite hard considering they're playing each other.
Yeah, that's why I asked the footballing gods to do that.
That would be a first. 0 points for both teams.
You never know.
On my side, I'm not looking forward to their fans leaving at halftime. I'm not worried. I've watched Brentford quite a bit this season. Sorry, Tabs, I'm gonna go into your team, and their direct football is really good when it's effective, but we've been exceptionally good when it comes to winning the second ball, and I think we're going to see that on the weekend. So that's one thing. Mbeumo is not in Tony's bag, and we know Tony likes a big game, but I do feel like we're going to suffocate them. I really do feel like that. On average, the last 6-7 games, I think they've taken about 12, 13 shots, and 6 of those have been on target. I see it being very different with us on the weekend. So I genuinely believe that it's going to be a walk in the park for us, not a 6-0, but a comfortable win, which is going to give us confidence to FC Porto. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt I will be.
Wow. Big big words there. You could be wrong, but you highly doubt it. You're going to be ended up getting clipped for a reel on TikTok, and people are going to start commenting on that, and you can prove them wrong as well, just like I did. Whale, what are you looking forward to in the match against Brentford?
Another home game, another chance to get another W under the belt. I'm confident we're going to win, but I'd like to see how Tony plays against us. I'm interested to watch that. I don't really like Neil Mopay. He's one of those guys like when he's on your team, you love him. When he's not on your team, you hate him. So, and yeah, he can cause us a little bit of trouble. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think these guys give up an average of 2 goals a game. They're second in the league in big chances missed. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it'll be a comfortable win, not 6-0, but a comfortable win. That's what's Brentford. That we should be beating them, especially the game before the big game. There's that. Yeah. We've got Porto, and then we've got City after that. So like this is a stepping stone to the 2 biggest games of the year following it.
Whale, would you call it a trap game?
Oh, we're not allowed to say trap game.
No, you are. Is this a game that we need to be careful of prior to a really important game then?
Yes.
And not fall into any undue situations that may
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I think we're ready though. I think we're ready for it.
Yeah. Tabs?
I think that was my point in terms of what I'm not looking forward to is the fact that it's prior to our biggest game of the season, or what I think is potentially our biggest game of the season. In a way, so it'll be interesting to see what team goes out. I forgot about Porto because unfortunately I can't go now, but I forgot about it, and I thought, okay, same team again, finish them off in the first half, get the other boys on and ease in. But with Porto in mind, it'll be interesting to see what team he puts out and how that plays in. So I'm not really looking forward to how that potentially impacts us in the game. What I'm looking forward to, as always, meeting up with the Grovers before the game, going to the Emirates. I've got a soft spot for Brentford, so nice to see them, but not so soft that I don't want to see us spank them. So there we go. So I'm looking forward to that aspect. And then a bit of banter on the WhatsApp group.
Tabs,
can I have your...
Sorry,
Moz. I was going to ask Tabs very quickly. Can I have your ticket for Porto, please, Tabs?
Sorry, no.
I take it that's a no. Sorry, Kaziva, on you go.
Tabs, on the point about thinking about Porto, I have a feeling that the psychologists and psychiatrists at Arsenal right now are making sure that these boys are focusing on the present. They're making sure that these boys are focusing on Brentford. I mean, we all saw Arteta's interview yesterday and how he said the next game is Brentford. I think he said it 3 times. So the hope is that the focus is Brentford and Porto will be after Brentford. And because of that, that's why I feel like it'll be comfortable. But look, that's what fans want to hear. We want to hear that we take in one game at a time. But I do know that as sports psychologists, they believe in mindfulness around these types of situations. So let's see what happens.
No, I agree with that. And I think mentally, no, you're right. We are focused on Brentford. That's the next game. That's it. It's more play. So I would say Jorginho is more important for the Porto game than the Brentford game.
Agreed.
So yeah. So therefore, that's a decision that needs to be made. You will not be if he's going to be playing Porto, he will not be starting against Brentford. So and that's what I mean, having that game in mind. If Martinelli is slightly injured and he needs a bit of extra recovery from the cut on his foot, which I believe that's what it is, then again, you bring Trossard in. So I think and I think that's where the team is. We don't have to have that first 11. It's just how would that potentially impact us, because we're on this amazing run, been keeping the same team. I think we're going to have to change it. How can we keep going? Saka's still ill, and I know he's thinking Brentford. I know he's thinking Brentford, but he has to say that. That's what he says. It's out in the public. But Porto is our biggest game of the season. We can lose against Brentford and still win the league. It's going to be tougher, but we can. We lose against Porto. Oh my God, Wales going to lose his shit. So it's if he wanted Arteta out beforehand when we lost 1-0 in the first leg, geez, I'm not sure I want to be on that pod afterwards. That's what I meant with having Porto in mind. I think he will have to maybe adjust his team, and it'll be interesting to see how we adapt to that. If we are the team that we think we are, we'll still go ahead, still beat them comfortably, and move on to Porto.
It's really interesting because Eva, you made a point about sports psychologists, and I was just thinking it's so random, and I digress a little bit. But if I was a professional footballer and someone came into me and said, Brentford, not Man City, not Porto, Brentford, all I could think about would be fucking Man City and Porto. I would not be able to think about Brentford. So fair play to these players. Maybe that's why they're professional footballers and I'm not, and I'm sitting talking about them on a podcast on a Tuesday night. But fair play to these guys, because they'll know themselves a job that they have to do, and Arteta will make it very clear as well. Look, at the end of the day, if you don't beat Brentford and then you go to the Etihad and beat City, what's that going to mean? It's going to mean nothing, because we might not, the league might be out of our hands well and truly by then. So yeah, the players will know they need to focus. In terms of team selection and obviously injuries, we would expect to see a very similar team and very similar subs bench, and might I add how nice it is to see a very strong subs bench rather than having players that we've never heard of, bitter hell and sweet heaven. But I don't see us lining up any differently, aside from David Raya obviously will be dropped, as your friend had mentioned, for Ramsdale tabs. I don't.
Yeah, on that point, I'd be really intrigued. How do people feel about that?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I watched Ramsdale. Yeah.
No, all right, okay, but how? What are your comfort levels, or you think no? It doesn't make.
My comfort level is he's got a big mistake in him, because that's the way he plays. My comfort level is he doesn't come out and claim crosses, so that's a problem. But I'd like to think that the defense in the back four is good enough to where they do a lot of shielding, so they'll protect him, but he's still got one of those in him, and it could be in the first 5 minutes of the game. And technically, that's when you want something to happen, because you've got the whole game to fight back from it. But in the same respect, it's gut wrenching when it happens so early on in the game. So yeah, if I could choose, I want Raya as a starter. That's who I want. But I mean, Ramsdale's a pretty good number 2. So yeah. We'll see how it goes.
I was watching Aaron Ramsdale warming up, and that's one player I never panicked about yesterday, because some of the saves he was pulling off I was really comfortable with. And to do this drill where the keepers cross it and they have to catch, and Ramsdale was doing okay. It seems like he's been working really hard in training to try being more like what Arteta wants and more like Raya. I don't think it's possible. I don't think he'll ever be on the same level as what David Raya is. I'm not overly worried about having him there, though. I think the home fans will give him a huge boost. I think having playing Brentford at home will be huge for Aaron Ramsdale. It was quite nice to see his dad as well at Sheffield United. I know Ramsdale used to play for them, but
did you guys have a pint of Coke together?
We didn't manage to speak to each other, no. But it was just nice to see him there, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, because it's nice to see him supporting his son, even though he's not playing. So it was cool. And then it was also nice to see NPC guy as well, and that's like kind of an inside joke with the Grove, but everyone's seen the NPC guy. It was nice to see him. I asked him for a selfie and he said, I don't know why I'm getting asked for selfies. I don't know what I've done to make myself famous. So it was brilliant. And he went to the very bottom of the stand at the start of the game and assumed position right at the corner flag, so he'd be there on camera if we scored. So that was good. Kaziva, sorry, I digress. What are your thoughts on having Ramsdale in goal as opposed to Raya?
He's going to try and press. Of course, he hasn't had many opportunities to play, so he'll try his best to do what he needs to do to keep a clean sheet. If we concede, we're going to see the frustration, in his emotions. So I do feel like that quadrant, Gabriel, Saliba, and Rice will take care of him. So I'm indifferent. I think he'll be fine. Genuinely, I think he'll be fine. I'm a very positive fan, as you guys can hear. So.
Shots fired.
I just asked a question because it's interesting, and a bit like with Havertz now, how the opinions have changed. You give these players a chance to embed in and develop in the team. All of us, a few months back, and we're not going to relitigate the whole Ramsdale Raya thing, but it's just, and the same with Havertz, it's interesting how we suddenly feel like, oh no, well, to a certain extent, oh, Raya's not in. I'm not sure, I don't feel as 100% confident as maybe I used to before, or just the emotional reaction to it. Yes, I think with Whale inclusive, I think, we'll be fine and we should be good enough anyway, irrespective of who's in goal. To be honest, I saw a picture today, someone sent me one, it was like Raya on a deck chair, like in front of goal, because that's how much he gets involved in games at the moment. So it's
exactly.
If our front 10, are doing their job, then he shouldn't really do too much. The main thing is one of the dangers from Brentford, their threats is their crosses. That they think they put balls in the box, they've got some height and so on, the danger in there, or their set pieces. So again, how will he cope with that? Say compared to Raya, but I think it'll be a bit like Saliba last year. To Wales' point, if he does make an error, a bit like Saliba, was it like against Leicester, or he made a couple of errors last year, the crowd will be massively behind him. The crowd will be so on his side. So I think he'll have that in his favour.
Yeah, as long as he gets the offense going. That's the thing. As long as he gets the offense going, because that's besides claiming crosses, that's the main difference between the two goalkeepers. One will grab the ball, turn around, and wink at the fans, and the other one is already getting the ball out on the counter. So hopefully, in this time that he's been on the bench, he's learned that if he wants more time and to play for this team, you catch the ball and you point someone out and you get the break going. So that's what I'm hoping he'll do. Because if he doesn't do that, then our change, that changes things completely for our team.
I think I mentioned that in one of the podcasts, the difference between David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale is Ramsdale would catch the ball, claim a corner or a cross, catch the ball and turn back to the North Bank or the clock end and wink and stick his tongue out or at the away fans, whereas David Raya, just as you say, Whale, gets the ball moving quick. And I hope that's one of the things that Arteta has instilled into Aaron Ramsdale to start doing on Saturday. I feel quite sorry for Ramsdale to a certain extent. Yeah, I prefer David Raya over Aaron Ramsdale, but I feel sorry for the way it kind of happened, the way he got outed from the team, and the fact that he's not even been given a chance in any other competition, because obviously we're not really in the FA Cup or League Cup, but it's just a shame to see him not play at all. Whether it would have been good to have him play.
Did you feel the same when he did that to Leno last year?
No, but I think that's because of the affinity.
It's just it's interesting the emotional reaction that Ramsdale engenders in every.
It's because of the affinity that fans have towards Aaron Ramsdale. That's why.
Exactly.
But I just what I was trying to say was that I thought maybe would it have been a good chance to see him play against Sheffield United, like his old club he used to play with, and a game that we were probably going to win anyway, and sets him up nicely to get some minutes before Brentford. Would that have been a better option? Potentially. I'm not sure.
We pay him $120K a week, man. We don't need to give him any more charity. He gets $120K a week, to stay in shape. He should be happy about it.
That's the life of a second choice keeper.
That's true. And the goalkeeper union is pretty strong, as I've seen again with Raya and Ramsdale during the warm up. So that was really good. In terms of Brentford's, Tabs, you did a kind of mini scouting mission, didn't you, last week for the game? So in terms of their players that are out injured, obviously we know Brentford players. I think Aaron Hickey's still out, isn't he? Ben Mee is out, Mbeumo, Pinnock, Da Silva, and Rico Henry. They're all important players for Brentford and players that could have maybe caused some damage. It's a bit interesting to see that they're out, and it'll be interesting to see how they will cope without those players. I think a lot of them have been out for quite some time, though, haven't they?
Yeah, that's their first choice back four are out all injured, and the final piece of the jigsaw, Ben Mee, like just recently. And they so prior to that, they can be quite strong defensively. They're quite a good unit. play together well and all the rest of it. So that I think that's really impacted them this season, and that's partly why their form isn't as good as what it has been in the past. And this is the first time in the Premier League that they've been in trouble. I mean, I think luckily for them, there are worse teams than them, and I think they've got enough about them that they won't go down. But it'll be interesting, and they're just coming off the back of quite a tough run, playing the likes of Liverpool and us, as well as Chelsea to a certain extent, and Man City a couple of times. So I think it's a bit of a false position, and I think they'll be able to pick up enough points. I mean, so I said I went to the Chelsea game. I mean, to be honest, it was an entertaining game. It was really, really good, but low on quality from both sides. So what I could sort of take away was, Brentford are physical. They're quite direct. They lack any creativity in the middle. It's not like they're a team that puts the ball down and tries to pass it around. They look a lot more of trying to win first, second balls and knock-ons, particularly through Tony, and Wiss is quite pacey. I think, as I said before, they're a threat from crosses into the box, but also it was a big weakness of theirs. I mean, the 2 Chelsea goals were just crosses from the flanks to unmarked headers at the far post. So they're both a threat, but it's also a weakness of theirs. Their press wasn't that coordinated. It was a bit sporadic, and our players should easily be able to bypass them. And then any pressure, they just go long. They say, all right, we can't deal with this. They go long and wide, and quite often the ball would go out of play. And in terms of particular players, like I watched Tony a bit, and he's always a threat, and especially at set pieces, taking them on the receiving end. But he looked unfit. He did a lot of walking. He moaned when the ball didn't go his way. Oddly enough, he didn't celebrate the Brentford goals, especially Wiss's overhead kick, which was fantastic. The whole team were with him, and Tony didn't. And so he's got the potential to be a threat, but he's not the Tony of last year, and I don't think he'll be troubling Saliba like he did last year. I don't expect that unless it's from set pieces. And in terms of the future, he's not an Arteta player. Just that one game, watching him, he's not an Arsenal player. He's not an Arteta player. He just doesn't offer what Arteta wants.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I haven't ever watched him live. I would agree that he doesn't seem like an Arteta player. I just worry that because he wants to prove a point against Arsenal, will he try that extra little bit harder?
But against Chelsea, he'd want to prove a point at home, and he didn't really offer
just
much.
Because of the connection with Arsenal, the links, and
maybe yeah. But he's not. You just watch him that one game. Yeah, Mope, I think he starts on the bench. As you're right, he's a horrible shit of a player, but he's best. And the other one is Wissa. He's very busy, runs around a lot, needs lots of chances to finish. So he can finish, but he needs a few chances. So they've got some threat. They're not as bad as Burnley or Sheffield United, but they're not as good as Newcastle, Liverpool, or West Ham. So yes, we should be winning this game. Relatively straightforward, barring any stupid things happening.
Perfect. Well, I don't think there's anything left to say apart from getting our predictions in for the game. And Kaziva, I hope you've not died from that cough. That sounded quite sore. Hopefully you're feeling better.
I'm so sorry, guys.
No, don't worry about it. I just heard the cough and then you went on mute, and I was like, "Oh my god, is he okay? Should we be flowing 999 or?"
It's not what Maz thought. Maz was like, "How am I going to edit this out?" That's what he was thinking.
Not at all.
Sorry about that.
Not at all. So it's time for our favourite predictions, and as Tab has already populated in, he has put 3-1 in his box. So, Tabs, is that the score you're actually going with?
It's going to land eventually. No, I'm going to go. Against my better judgment, I'm going 4-0 to Arsenal. Actually, in the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, they've actually been pretty tight 1-0s, 1-alls, 2-1s. So they're never really high scoring games, but this is a new iteration of Arsenal. Brentford are not the same team. 4-0. Thank you very much. Good night.
Whale, your prediction for the game, please.
We'll go 4-2.
Ooh.
Well, interesting. You'll find out why I said that in a sec. Kaziva, your prediction.
Same as Tabs, 4-0. 4-0.
Wow. I'm going 3-2.
Oh my God.
I think we'll score, but I think having Ramsdale in goals might cost us a goal or so. And I just have a funny feeling that either Mope or Tony will...
Moppy.
Moppy. Just for context, that's twice now that I've had to back myself and stand up for myself on this episode. And for context, I have had 2 hours of sleep. I was at an away game in Sheffield.
No one would have guessed that.
Exactly.
Did you meet anyone non-famous with a limited wardrobe?
NPC guy. And do you know what? The only famous person I met were the Grovers that were there as well. Catherine, Duncan, and Cal. The only famous people in my life that I wanted to meet. But yeah, I'm going 3-2. I believe Tony and Moppy, however you say it, don't really care, to be honest. I think they'll both score. I think we'll go something like 3-1 or 3-0 up or something like that, and then they'll score last minute or whatever. But yeah, if you are a fantasy football person, take Gabriel and Saliba out your team and load up with the Brentford attackers, because they will score. But yeah, no, thank you so much, Kaziva. It's been great having you on. We hope we haven't kept you too long, and you've done a brilliant job. So thank you so much, Whale. I hope you are doing okay, brother. I hope...
I'm well. I am well.
Whale is well.
Whale is well indeed. And Tab,
who's going to be at the game? Who's going to be there?
Oh, of course. I won't be. I won't be there.
I'll be there.
Sadly.
I won't be there. My fiance is coming back from South Africa, so I'll be spending time with her and obviously watching the game, ignoring her for 90 minutes.
Sorry, why won't you be there? I didn't quite catch that one.
Oh, because my fiance is back from South Africa.
Yeah, you still haven't explained why you won't be there, but there we go. Enjoy yourself.
All right, get me a ticket, Tabs. Give me a ticket. All right, I'll see you on Saturday evening.
And Whale, you'll join her?
No. Right? I've got a little city break. I'll be in Budapest, so I'll be looking for a bar to watch the game from.
Is that why you're not in a good mood tonight? Because you're missing the game?
No, of course not.
I've got my fishing rod out and I'm just biting. I'm getting the bite. I won't be there because I've done too many games recently and I've missed 2 wedding anniversaries in a row now. So I really need to do some serious making up. So that's why I won't be there this weekend. I think that's a good enough excuse.
I've accumulated too many of those, so I'm good from now on.
Hopefully, just with the one person.
Yeah, no, not multiple individuals, but consecutive. Right, on that note, let's call it a day.
Yeah, on that note, thank you so much for listening. We went over our time a little bit, but it's been great fun. We'll see you guys in the next one when we've beaten Brentford 3-2. See you later, guys.
4-0. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.